guys, what's up? It's Taylor and I am here to do another storytime video for you. This one is a little bit interesting. Once again, a lot of people don't know this story about me, so if my family or friends are watching, hi. I'm sorry. As you can tell by the title, I am going to tell you a story about the time that I wrecked my dad's car, and it technically wasn't even me, but we're gonna get into that here in a little bit. Flashback to sophomore year, circa 2012, I started dating a boy, my first real official serious boyfriend. His name was Kevin. Hi Kevin, if you're watching this. You're probably not, and fuck you if you're watching this too. I started dating this guy named Kevin. Turned out to be a complete asshole and cheated on me a shit ton, and it's a long story and I'm not gonna get into that right now. I will further down the road. Newly dating Kevin, and my dad and my stepmom were already pretty leery about him, just because it was my first real boyfriend and he was kind of like a sketchy dude. I don't know. Everyone got really weird vibes with him from the very beginning, and like looking back to all these things, think I'm absolutely crazy. Like, I lost my mind for doing all this stuff for him that I did do. Anyways, once again, it all happened for a reason. Everything does. I'm a firm believer that things that happened then like brought me to where I am right now. So my dad, he was in the business of, he's always been a car salesman, and he was in the business of buying used cars, fixing them up, whatever was wrong with them, and then selling them for more than he bought them for, obviously because he fixed them. So my dad bought this like Pontiac, I think it was a Pontiac, I don't remember. It was like a 2006 nice black convertible car. I had just gotten my license. I wasn't allowed to have anybody in the car for 6 months besides like direct family or like an adult, and Kevin was an adult. He was 18 years old. My parents went to a different town for the day, and they were going over to save my sister from her crazy boyfriend for the day with their kids, so I was home alone. Now, my dad left me the keys to the car, the black convertible, like if I had an emergency. So if I needed to go get shampoo or something, or you know, if I was hungry or whatever. Okay, one bad idea. Hi dad, bad idea. So I invited Kevin over, of course, and we were up in my room hanging out, and then he was like, oh, you have the keys to that car? I was like, yeah, I do, but it's for emergencies only, like me being like all innocent and everything that I was. And he was like, oh, well, we should go on a drive. And so I was like, okay, but I have to drive. And he's like, no, it's okay, like I know how to drive. Like, I'm like, mind you, we were brand new in this relationship. I was 16. Kevin was 18, and he didn't have his license. He got it taken away, and he was already in trouble with the law. We weren't supposed to be in a relationship together because he was 18 and I was 16. But my parents knew about it, obviously. So he convinced me to let him take my dad's car. I was in the passenger seat. He was in the front seat. We were just gonna go like not even a mile down the road to this little shop called Kelly's Corner, and we were gonna get some sodas and like some chips and stuff. So we get in the car. Everything's fine. Turns, you know, he knows how to drive. He does. I'll give him that. However, he is a very scary and very fast driver. So we turn off of my main road that I live on, get down like this one straightaway road that's about 1.5 miles long. Literally turns from like, oh, I'm going like 35, the speed limit, to like going 80 in like 3 seconds. He's like lead foot on the fucking gas pedal. Like, he is going so fast. We get up to 106 miles per hour. And I'm like, Kevin, you need to slow down. Like, this is my dad's car. This isn't my car. If you wreck it, you need to slow down. So he slows down for a little bit, and then he thinks it's funny, so he does it again. Once again, like 108, 110, as fast as this fucking little car can go. I'm freaking out. I'm yelling at him, Kevin, you need to slow the fuck down. This is not funny. We're gonna wreck. It's not funny. You don't even have your license. I just got my license. So he slows down again. He's like, oh, you're just being a little bitch. Like, you're just being whiny, blah, blah, blah. We're fine. I wouldn't crash with you in the car. I care too much about you, blah, blah, blah. You know, the big sob story. So we get to Kelly's Corner of the little market. We go in, we buy our little sodas and chips and stuff because we were gonna have a movie that night, and we get back in the car, and I'm like borderline like ready to like call someone to come get me and take me home because I'm scared to get back in the car with this man. I don't have my license, and at that age I was already freaked out that I wasn't supposed to have him in the car with me, and I didn't want to drive without my license as well. And I know that I'm making excuses for it, but that's what I thought at that time. I get back in the passenger seat, he gets in the driver's seat, we pull out, he's driving slow, then we get back to that fucking straightaway road again, and he starts going as fast as this car can go. He's going 110, like all the way up there, and I'm freaking out, like holding onto the things. I'm like, Kevin, slow the fuck down. This isn't funny. I don't think this is funny. Stop. And he's like, you need to put your seatbelt on. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, obviously I have my seatbelt on. He's like, are you sure you have your seatbelt on? And I was like, yes. If someone ever tells you to put your seatbelt on and you're going that fast, I should have known we were gonna crash. Like, I should have known in the back of my head, and somewhere I did, like somewhere in the back I was like, oh my god, he's gonna crash the car, like this is really gonna happen, like I better have my seatbelt on. We get to the end of the road, he turns, he's going like 45 miles an hour around this fucking like 10-mile-an-hour turn. Drive down the road a little bit more, and then we pull into, like, we're about to turn left onto my house road. He's going fucking 55, like 65 around this corner, and there is on the corner a big telephone pole waiting for us. He slows down, he's like, yells, shit, and I'm like, oh my god, and then I don't remember anything else. I remember our car and then like smash into the telephone pole. So we hit the telephone pole, it goes through the middle of the car, like it was like right in between like our legs and stuff in the car. And the first thing he does is says, your dad's gonna fucking kill me. Not, hey Taylor, are you okay? Like, he was worried about his ass on the line. Clearly he was okay. Airbags didn't deploy. So I get out of the car, I go and sit on the cement, on the road, on the side of the road, and I'm like, how are we gonna do this? What are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do? I'm freaking out. Kevin is freaking out about my dad, and he still hasn't asked me if I was okay. So our neighbor sees the whole entire crash, comes out of his house, walks down the road, and he's like, are you okay? The first thing he does is ask me if I'm okay, which is, oh, weird, reasonable, right? You'd think that's what Kevin would be doing, but no. He's like, are you okay? I know, like, this is your dad's car, like, are you guys supposed to be driving? Is he legal? Blah, 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 blah. He didn't see who got out of what side of the car. He told us he didn't see who was driving or anything. He thought it was me driving. At this point, I was like questioning that, if my, you know, like if his cover was blown or if my cover was blown, because Kevin wasn't supposed to be driving. He's like, hey, I can tow the car back really quick, back to the house, so you don't have to call a tow truck, because it was only like 3 houses down from the telephone pole. Kevin and him push the car back down into my dad's driveway. My dad's still gone. My dad will be gone until later tonight. And we go inside the house, and Kevin is like, what are we gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't crash the car. I was yelling at you the whole time to slow the fuck down. And he goes, I can't get in trouble. They will call the police. I will go to jail. He's like, I can't get in trouble. Nobody can know I was driving. And this motherfucker says, you have to tell them that you were driving. Okay, mind you, I'm 16 years old, easily influenced. I thought I was head over heels in love with this guy who clearly was taking advantage of me. And so I said, okay, I will take the blame for it. Let me call my dad. So I get on the phone and I call my dad. My dad answers and the phone keeps cutting out and it's really bad service. So he's like, just call me later. So I called him like half an hour later. Kevin is like pacing the house and I call my dad and I'm like, hey, I went out to get some shampoo for my hair because we were out and I took your car and I was coming around the corner and my brakes weren't working and I crashed into the pole, the telephone pole. And my dad hangs up on me. Which is reasonable. I would be pretty pissed too. He hangs up the phone on me and then 30 minutes later he calls me back and he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm just really shaken up. So Kevin's here to comfort me. My dad knows now. And that whole hard part is over. He is like, okay, I'll be home. We're on our way. Like, we have some stuff with your sister that we have to deal with. He wasn't acting very mad, and that was freaking me out the most, I think. Kevin and I hang out for the night. He goes home before my dad gets home. Smart man. And my dad looks me in the eye when he gets home, walks through the door, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I don't know what to do. He's like, are you hurt? Do we need to take you to the doctor? Like, he wasn't as mad as I thought he would be. I felt like he knew, like, something was up. Like, months went on. I was paying my dad back. Kevin let me pay for the car. I had given my dad payments of $200 every 2 weeks out of my paychecks that I was getting. Kevin let me, and I didn't crash the car. Remember, Kevin crashed the car, and I was paying for it. I was grounded. My phone was taken away. I was taking pretty hard hits for this accident that was not my responsibility. I was not responsible for it. So then finally my dad tells me 2 months later, after this whole thing had happened, he's like, did Kevin crash the car? Because the neighbor came over and talked to Kim and I, my stepmom, and said that Kevin was the one who was driving. And I was like, oh fuck, like I'm gonna lose my boyfriend, like he's gonna be so mad at me. Like this was my mindset at this time, and it's so crazy to me that I was so worried about losing him over something like a car accident that he clearly didn't care about my well-being. So I told my dad, I was like, yeah, Kevin was the one driving, Kevin crashed the car, he was going way too fast. So my dad was fuming red, like bright ass red. Called Kevin's aunt and uncle that he was living with, told them that Kevin's going to pay him as soon as possible. And so Kevin had to give my dad his entire savings account, which is fair because he should have been the one that was paying for it all along, you know. And Kevin and I weren't allowed to see each other for quite some time. However, we stayed together for 2 years. That entire rest of the 2 years was a shit show, but I will get onto that in another story time video. Moral of the story is I took the fall for something I shouldn't have, and I'm embarrassed about it. And I think I always will be a little bit embarrassed about stuff like that, just because I can't believe I was that naive to just let him, I don't know, control me like he did. But yeah, that's the story of how I wrecked my dad's car. But it wasn't even me. It wasn't me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to the new subscribers. Hi, I'm Taylor. It's nice to meet you. I will see you guys later. Bye.